Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in the world. I am Tigress Osborn. I am the Executive Director of NAAFA, the National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance. Welcome to the NAAFA Webinar Series. This morning, we are joined by Kathy Cano-Murillo, the Crafty Chica, and I'm going to tell you about Kathy and her crafts and more about her in just a moment. Before we get started with our special guest, I want to introduce you to our interpreters from Pro Bono ASL. We've been working with Pro Bono ASL for years now. We love them very much. We hope that you will support their work towards accessibility. You can learn more about them at probonoasl.com. And please know that even though their name implies that they work for free, they do not work for free for us. We support their work so that they can work for free for others in the community who need that. And we are able to support them and our guests and all of the folks who help us produce and execute the NAAFA webinar series through the generous donations of people just like you. So you can support Pro Bono ASL directly, of course. You can also support them by giving to us so that we can continue to have them providing accessibility at all of our virtual events. And you can give to NAAFA to support any of our work at naafa.org. NAAFA.org. While you're there on our website, please stop by the page for the Campaign for Size Freedom, which we co-founded with our friends at the Fat Legal Advocacy, Rights, and Education Project, with support from Dove. Yes, that Dove, the household name that you know so well. The campaign seeks to raise the conversation about why we need more legal protections against height and weight discrimination. There are very few places in the United States where it is explicitly prohibited to discriminate against people based on size, and we want to change that. If you would like to help us change that, please sign the petition for size freedom while you're there visiting our website and learning more. Also want to let you know, if you're here with us live, that next week on the NAAFA webinar series, we will be featuring poet Jessica Salgado, also known as Jessica Star. And you can learn more about her, and you can always check out what we have coming up in terms of virtual events, also on our website. Sign up for our newsletter, you'll be informed. Follow us on social media at NAAFA Official on your favorite platforms, and stay in touch with us because we've got lots more exciting things coming up for the rest of the year. And you can check out our YouTube channel to see some of the things we've already done this year, including many videos coming soon from all of our fantastic programming for Fat Liberation Month. Thank you for being with us today. Let's go ahead. Let me introduce you to Kathy. Kathy is the Crafty Chica, and she's the founder of the award-winning site craftychica.com, which specializes in Mexican-inspired crafts. She's a former syndicated newspaper columnist and is now a full-time creativepreneur and has authored several craft books and novels, a book about the life of Frida Kahlo, and her latest, The Crafty Chica Creates. Her product lines have been sold on Home Shopping Network, at Barnes & Noble, Michael's, and hundreds of pottery, craft, and fabric shops across the country. Kathy's mission is to promote positivity via creativity. She's been featured in Forbes, the New York Times, BuzzFeed, and more, and you can follow her on Instagram and TikTok at Crafty Chica. Kathy, welcome to the NAAFA Webinar Series.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm totally in my element Saturday morning in my art studio here. Thank you for joining me and having me join you.
Yeah, we're so excited to be with you this morning. So tell us the origin story. How did you become the Crafty Chica?
I've always been a hyper creative. That is the best way to describe it. And a hyphenate. I've always loved making things and writing stories and to bring them together. And when I first was married, my husband and I made work, and we had sales reps and we had hundreds of wholesale accounts all over it got to be too much to handle. So I went to work at the newspaper, started as a news clerk in the entertainment section, and just kept volunteering to write stories. And over my 13-year career, I ended up being a double syndicated columnist for my craft column, which ran in 130 different papers around the country, and then also writing celebrity interview stories. And the success of the craft column, designing for a general market, because these, the papers were all over the country, it really made me realize the lack of representation of Latino culture in the crafts industry. The crafts industry is a 43 billion. Latinos make up 20% of the US population. So the math was not mathing. And I decided to launch Crafty Chica in 2001 as a way to offer craft tutorials that had a Latin vibe to them, specifically Mexican American. I'm third generation Mexican American. And you know what? It really took off. Here it is. It's been more than 20 years. And there are a lot of Spanish language craft sites, but there are not a lot of English language craft sites for people like me who are third generation and still perfecting, polishing our Spanish language skills. So it's been exciting to be in this space and to connect with people of generations and backgrounds who love Latino themed crafts. And that's what brought me here. And then I still do writing. I combine both elements.
And you mentioned that you are here from your studio this morning. Tell us more,
Yes.
like, what is your artwork like, both when you're not crafting for an audience and then when you are?
Well, so there's two different sides to it. There's the artist side and there's the designer side. The artist side is where I can create whatever I want to create. And I use cafeteria trays where I put the supplies of the things that I want to make. And then I have cafeteria trays filled with assignments from clients of things that I have to make. For example, I designed ceramic bisqueware and for Paint on Pottery Studio. So this is one of my designs that I designed this is supposed to be like a label, like when you go to a coffee shop and they give you the paper cup and they put their label on it. So you can paint your own label on it. So I have to paint samples of these that will be used in the Paint on Pottery Studio. So when people look at this, they can get an idea of, what it will look like. So that's like part of the designer side. I have 400 stickers that I designed for tote bags for an event coming up. And then the artist side is stuff like this, like what we're going to do today is working with clay, either air dry clay or ceramics clay. So there's always something going on in here.
So we're gonna, everyone, we're gonna talk to Kathy, just talk to her for a few more minutes, and then she's gonna start demonstrating a craft. We did promote a supplies list, so if you have supplies and you're gonna craft along, we love that, and we hope that when you finish your craft, you'll share it on social media and tag us and tag Kathy. And then we'll also take questions from you while Kathy is crafting. So if you have questions for her about her life, about her work, you can put those in the chat at any time. It's super helpful if you put the word question in front of it, especially if the chat's really popping over there. But so we're going to talk for just a couple more minutes and then we'll start getting hands-on. So Kathy, as you know, we're an organization that works on body politics stuff, fat rights and changing the perceptions of fat. And I want to hear a little bit from you about how body stuff shows up in your life and in your crafts.
Oh, definitely. Well, I come from a family that has always, we have our body shape, and I'm 58 and my mom, who is from that older generation, everything was based on looks. So as soon as I turned into those teenage years, the comments start coming of like, watch what you eat, which makes me watch it like, oh, I love this, more like that as opposed to the way that she meant. And it created this disconnect between my love for my spirit and my brain and my personality and my love for my body. There was a disconnect. I felt like I went through decades of my heart, my spirit, my mind being mad at my body. Like, why aren't you synced up with us? Like, how did we end up with you? Like, you don't match us. And then I had that moment that hopefully happens to all of us where the truth is everything breaks apart so that you could see really what is going on. And for me, I was a blogger chosen to visit Walt Disney Studios, not Disneyland, but Walt Disney Studios, where they do all of the writing and the animation and everything. And there was maybe like 30 bloggers, and we got to go to Walt Disney's office. And I was like, oh my gosh, I like had a moment where I'm like, Walt Disney, thank you for your spirit, like creativity, all of that. Walk out of the building. It's super hot. And they tell us we're going to break into groups to go on a scavenger hunt all around Walt Disney Studios. My team, we get the clue. And as soon as I finish reading the clue out loud, everyone takes off running to the next clue. Me and running, that has not happened. Like,
Girl.
I can't remember the last time. And I was kind of in shock, like, oh my God, this is really happening. And I was like in heavy jeans and heavy shoes. So I just started power walking, and I was like in shock because I was like, oh my God, this is a lot of physical stamina I'm going to need for this day. And it went from one thing to another thing to another thing. And I was sweating, and I was like, come on, legs, pick it up. Like, I couldn't run, but I could power walk. And it got to the point to where I found this little like metal statue, and I leaned over and I just started crying, and I threw up. Like, it was too much for me. And then I look at it, and it was Dopey. Like, it was a little statue of Dopey. And I'm like, oh my God, Walt Disney, I'm so sorry. I just threw up on Dopey. Like, I felt so like such a loser, right? And so I still had to go on with my group, and they were always ahead of me, and I was always trying to catch up. And I was crying and walking, and I went through this period of hating myself and hating my body and being so mad and feeling worthless. And then something clicked. I felt like my legs started talking to me, and my legs were telling me, we're doing the best that we can. Like, we are carrying you. Be nice to us. Like, stop yelling at us. Like, you've got us in this situation right here, and we're doing our best to get you through. And this was a long walk, so I had time for all of this to play out in my head. So then I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. Like, legs, I love you. I'm so sorry that I have been so mean to you. I'm nice to every other part of me, but you always get the raw end of the deal. And then I'm like, what about my arms and my neck? I'm like, all of you guys, we're all on the same team together. And for once in my life, that was the changing point where I made that connection and included my body parts in on the team of my heart and my soul and my spirit. Is we're all valuable players together. And from that point on, you know, those moments like when you catch a side view of yourself, or first thought goes to, oh, is that me? And now I'm like, you know what? Good job. Like, we're standing upright. We're doing this. We're moving. And yes, it always fluctuates. But I do my best to make a conscious effort to not be mean to my body parts. Because in fact, I started getting massages to honor them and to talk to them. And even if I go, like, if I want to eat pizza, I'm like, no, I'm going to be kind to my feet and my ankles because they don't want to be bloated. Like, okay, feet or ankles, I'm not going to get you bloated today. We're going to pass on the pizza and the salt so you guys feel good. Like, as soon as I started doing it, started becoming a lot easier and more peaceful.
So
So
after you had that epiphany that you wanted to see your, you know, your physical self more integrated with your heart and soul, and that you wanted to be kinder to your body, how did that change your work?
um it changed my work, and it definitely changed the way that I talk to people. I talked more openly about it because I could feel energy from other people when if we're getting dressed to go someplace, or I can say, hey, good job, tell your legs good job for, like they got you through like that full day at Disneyland. It made me happier while I worked. And of course it's always it's always something I'm working on, and at this age, it's a little tougher to lose weight. Early when I was younger, it was easier. And now I'm just in a space to where I am loving who I am right now, making the best choices I can right now. Every chair, I'm like, Booty, are you okay with this chair? Okay, let's do this. Like just always keeping an eye out for things to be comfortable. It's okay to want to be comfortable and feel good. It's like it should be just a normal thing. Whereas before I tried to be invisible, and I felt like I should not stand as tall as everybody else, or I should stand in the back. And coming to this realization, I'm like, my legs are beautiful. Like I'm the only one in the world who has these. Deserve to see sunshine too, to smile in the sunshine. So now it's giving me more confidence on a higher perspective level of like, enjoy this human experience, and I want all of my body to enjoy it too.
Well, and I think one thing that's happened for me as I've gotten older, and also as I've spent more and more years in fat liberation spaces, is part of what that confidence has done is led to me being more likely to advocate for myself. So you mentioned chairs. We talk about chairs around here a lot. Chairs are not just a comfort issue, they're also an accessibility issue. Like literally, can you be in a space, right? And so if you have that, if you look at that chair and you say, Booty, can we do this chair? And you're no, what do you do? How do you handle that?
I usually do it ahead of time, where if it's going to be like a speaking presentation or anything, I'll say, what kind of stage is it? Are there stairs? Do the stairs have a rail? Are there bar stools? Is it a regular chair? Is it a low couch?
Oh, the bar stools.
I know. The bar stools. I don't know if you've been through this, but I remember one time going on stage for a panel, and the whole time I pretended to sit on the bar stool. And by the end, my thighs were burning. But again, I'm like, wow, my thighs, they're powerful.
I have to tell you on
deserve a massage for that.
Yes, on the subject of doing it early whenever you can. If you're watching and you're not a larger person, please be an ally to us in this way and do it for us so that we don't have to always be doing the work of figuring out our own seating or other accessibility things about size or disability. But because last year for Fat Liberation Month, Kathy and I both live in the greater Phoenix area in Arizona. And last year for Fat Liberation Month, I was invited on Good Morning Arizona, and I had not asked about the chairs ahead of time. I didn't even think about it. And it was my first time going to like a new studio to do a thing. And so they're bringing me out like right before, like we're going to go live, like go get in the chair and we're going to go live in like 3 minutes. And it was this tall stool. And I just looked like, oh my God. And luckily there was like a stagehand person who came over and helped me get up onto the stool. But the whole time I was like, I'm going to fall. I'm going to fall. And so, and the news anchor, this teeny tiny woman. And so she's on this stool just fine, you know, and I'm on the stool like, please don't let this break on statewide television over here. But, you know, all was well that ends well in that situation. But it was a good reminder to me that like, I need to ask those questions ahead of time. And also I need to help other people learn to think about those things, those, you know, accessibility things ahead of time, you know?
Yeah, exactly. All of those things matter. And, you know, I have my treadmill here that, you know, 20 minutes a day, I'm on my treadmill doing my thing. It just because I do that doesn't mean I'm going to have chair confidence every time, you know. It's something that people think it's like, oh, well, just lose weight and you won't have that problem. Like, and if it was that easy, I would have done that decades ago, but this is how it is.
Never thought of that. Right. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like taking it day by day and loving where you are and celebrating where you are, and no more hiding and no more shrinking. You know, I'm like over that so much.
Yes.
We deserve to be seen, to have space, have joy.
As we are right now, right? We always say like, we can't, you know, when we look at systems and say that they're failing fat people, we don't have to change the fat people. We can change those systems if we can just envision a world where those systems are different, whether, you know, all the way from the chairs to employment discrimination, right? Like we can make world. And I know you mentioned being on stage and on a stool because you also do some public speaking. What kinds of things do audiences invite you to talk about?
Oh my gosh, I talk about all kinds of things. And you know, I honestly feel like having a healthy mindset about your body attracts new energy and opportunities. And through all of this, I have never let my size stop me from trying anything. You know, I have that confidence. I speak about women's issues, entrepreneurship, handmade businesses, technology, a variety of all different kinds, being a mom, being an empty nester, being Latina, third generation, all of these things. And I'm really proud that this is my first time speaking about body issues. Like, and it's such a big part of my life and who I am. And it's just, you know, it comes with the package. Like, this is what being in my vision of a crafty chica, it's like living life to its fullest and just trying all the experiences, no limitations.
Absolutely. Well, let's get you crafting since that's what you're for. As folks can see, Kathy's got a second camera set up so you can watch her as she's crafting. And if you are you know, if you are crafting along or if you do the craft later, we would love to have you share that and tag NAAFA and tag Kathy. We're really excited to see what you can come up with. Kathy, before we start, do you have any advice for people who are not as experienced crafters as you are? Who may be a little bit like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, the first thing to remember is that everything takes practice. I mean, it is so rare to make something perfect and beautiful the first time you try it. And give yourself grace for doing this, because if you've always wanted to work with clay or be creative, you have to give yourself that soft space to experiment, to make mistakes, to try new things, let it dry, look at it. And then the next time you will know better. You'll say, this time I'm going to do it different because last time it didn't work that way. So that's my main thing, is just let yourself have fun and play and experiment, and know that the more you do anything, the better you will become at doing it. So that's my best advice that I love to tell people.
And if folks logged in this morning, so Julian put the supply list in the chat for those of you who are here. It's air dry clay, a rolling pin, a craft knife, and a small bowl of water. If folks did not get those things before they came today. Is there something they can use instead of the clay? I mean, I can imagine what you can use instead of the knife, and I hope you all have
Yeah, well, if you don't have air dry clay, you can make your own clay from flour and glue and a little bit of water, or not flour, but like shred up newspaper and glue. Like you can make your own paper mache stuff, or you can just watch and then watch the replay when you do have the supplies. But air dry clay is super easy. You can get it at the craft store, use your coupon. What I love the terracotta clay. Yes, it comes in white or terracotta, and I love it because it dries very hard, and you really cannot tell the difference between ceramics and this. I'm ceramics. Fired clay is vitrified, so it's a lot harder, like more like glass. But this one still, it's very sturdy and heavy. And so we're going to do this. And these are 2 projects from my book, my Crafty Chica Creates books, where I have the specific directions in there. And you're just going to start with some clay. I will set these to the side. And this is a large mouse pad that I use this for my clay work. You can also use like the craft foam, or you could use cardboard, whatever you'd like. And then this isn't necessary, but it's helpful. If you have 2 rulers or pieces of wood that are equal in height, you could put that down so that when you roll out your clay, it will be nice and even. So I'm just going to take this piece of clay, and you don't necessarily, we're not going to use a template today. We're just going to freestyle it, your rolling pin. And let's see, I can pull some of this off.
There is a template for this one in the book, though, right?
Yes, there is one in the book, or you can email me and I can send it to you. I meant to send it to you earlier, but here's like a little template that I can send to you, and we can connect it with the video and put a link there and everything. So we're just going to put this in a ball like this, and then use our rolling pin to smooth it out, make it even.
And if I don't have a rolling pin, what are some good substitutes for that?
Oh, you could use a glass. I've seen people use a jar, like a glass jar. Just anything that is smooth enough. And I've even made some without a rolling pin. You could just keep going like this, like a pancake, like a tortilla, and just keep patting it like that till it gets thin.
How big is the piece of clay that you're using, Kathy?
Okay, so
the numbers on your ruler.
Okay, this is about, let's see. We're going about 7 inches is good. Yeah, about 7 inches.
And y'all, I found my clay at Target last night. I know that, Kathy mentioned craft stores. Do you have a favorite craft store, Kathy?
I buy from all over. So ceramic stuff I get locally at Marjan Ceramics, a family-owned business. They've been there for 75 years. When I'm teaching large classes and using air dry clay, I use my coupon and I'll order it online through Michael's Pro. They have like their Pro where you could upload your business license and you get a really great discount. So I'm just going to set this template here. Or since you don't have a template, I won't use a template. We're just going to, if you want, you could use a pencil or whatever, and you could just, lightly sketch out your design of what you want to make. So I'm just going to do like a heart like this, maybe with the little flames. And now that I like that, I'm just going to go through, and you can use a craft knife, a small steak knife. We've even used plastic knives, and just cut it out like this.
And I know you chose this one today because you wanted folks to think about their hearts. What do you?
Yes.
Why this one for us?
This one is Buena Vida, which means the good life, and it's abundant with, you know, flowers. The leaves, the vines represent growth. The flames here represent hope. Like there's always a fire of hope burning. The flowers represent, you know, always being in full, striving to be in full bloom, whatever that may mean to you. And then this one, I didn't add paint to it. Like this one is just the beauty of the terracotta. It's more like it has a lot of detail on it, but sometimes you don't have to have all those colors to shine. Sometimes it's just your organic beauty is what's representative to you. So you could choose how you want to do it. So this one I have, I cut out my little heart shape, and I'm going to make this a wall hanging. So first I'm just going to go through with my water, and I'm going to smooth the edges. And this is about 1/4 inch thick. I use this ruler to give, you know, the two little spaces. You can get them like at Home Depot, you know, the little, the yardsticks, and then just cut those and use them. I do everything with those. I like make little shrine boxes out of them. I use them for my ceramics. Okay, so now we have this here, and I'm going to scoot this a little bit closer to me like this. See if I can move this down a little. Okay. So this leftover part, I like to have a spray bottle nearby just to keep it moist. And I'm just going to pull off a little piece here. And this is where we have fun and we just start adding flowers. What I will do though, have like a chopstick or your knife, put 2 little holes right here so that you can hang it. Because once it's all dry, you could put a little piece of wire through there. And now I'm going just to take a little circle like this, flatten it a little, and then you can use your craft knife and decide where you want to put your flower. Say I'll put my flower right here in the middle. So I'm going to use my craft knife and I'm going to score it. I'm just going to scratch up the clay on both sides like this. And then if you have a little cup of, you could add some water there and just place. And what that will do is it will help the two pieces fuse. So once you have that, I like to make these little petals. So to do the petal,
that little circle is the base of our flower?
That's going to be the center of the flower.
Got it.
Yeah, just so now you're going to pinch off a ball of clay. It's smaller than, and we're going to roll it to a little, maybe a little less. These are 2 ways to do a flower.
Kathy, is this a good material to make jewelry from?
Yes, yes. So a lot of people like to do polymer clay for jewelry, but this works just as well. So I think for the sake of time, I'll show you the easier way of making these petals. So we're just going to roll out a little piece of clay like this. And then we're just going to use our craft knife and we're going to cut out these little shapes that look like this. You see that?
So almost like a long teardrop, right?
Yes, yes, like a juicy tear. And then we're going to come back over here and we're going to do the same thing that we did when we put the little circle. We're going to score it with our knife on both sides where it's going to meet and put water right there. and press it into place like that. And then I like to do several of them, different sizes, so that I can choose how I want to place these. So I'm just drawing some like this. And if you really like this, you can check your local community center. They always have ceramics classes. I know here in Phoenix, we have several like studio places where you can go take a Saturday morning or, an evening ceramics class, and they will fire it for you. They even have wheels, so you can learn how to make items on the wheel. And so I'm just going to continue this process.
You can also look for crafting classes at your local library. Kathy and I actually met at a local library here.
Really? Oh, I love that. I did not know that.
Well, remember we met when you did the thing at my local library. We made math.
Yes.
Pieces, right?
Yes, the Frida thing at the Phoenix Library. Yes. You're absolutely right. Yeah, there's a lot of times there's free events where you could go do make and takes.
Yeah,
so I have.
So I want y'all to support your public libraries and see.
Yes, definitely.
My public library has a makerspace.
Yes, there's we have several maker spaces here in town too that do that. And there is a fun event coming up in November. It's called the Canal Convergence. It's in Scottsdale. And I'm one of the featured artists there. And this thing is so cool. This is one of the projects I've been working on. I am combining my storytelling with craft, and it's called storytelling stamping. So I carved all of these different motifs on erasers. And so people will come up to the booth, and then they will choose their different stamps, create a collage, and then I'm going to tell them what it means, because I have a meaning for each of the stamps that I carved. So it's almost like a tarot card reading, crafty, but it's not, but it's storytelling. So it's going to be really cool. I have been so excited. I had friends come over this week to be my guinea pigs and try it with me, and they loved it. They're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And that is in November. So
for the folks who are with us, because we have people from all over the world who watch these videos, are there other virtual places where people can see you crafting? Like, do you do your own website?
Yes. So I do a lot. So I'm going to roll this up again and do another little layer. Yes, I do online classes. So I'm putting together a Day of the Dead class retreat right now, where it's like 4 different workshops in one day. I ship all the supplies to your house. I also do TikTok Live, Facebook Live, and Instagram Live. I do Facebook Live every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And then TikTok and Instagram is just kind of random when I'm feeling it. But yes, I do a lot of online workshops and things. So definitely you could go to craftychica.com, sign up for the newsletter, because that's where I will share everything. And that's where you can find me online. And of course, on all of my social media, I'm always sharing ideas, either techniques or projects to do.
So Kathy, we're using the water to keep our clay smooth and to keep the clay we're not using like supple, or like where should we be wetting this clay?
Okay, so what you're going to do is here, let me put my last little flower petal here. So to keep it moist, what I like to do is you can have a plastic bag, and whatever clay you're not using, if you're like, say you're done with this, make sure you keep your clay in like a Ziploc bag or something that is sealed. And then I like to spray it with water like this to keep it moist. So while I'm working, I can even spray this one. That way it will stay nice and moist. because once it dries, it will get, you can still reconstitute it, but it will just be, it will crack a little bit. So now I think I will add some leaves to this. So you can see this one, it's a little more detailed. This one took a few hours to make. So on top of where all of the rays are at the top, I added another layer of clay. On top of that, I added the leaves, which we're going to make right now. This is the flower we just did. And then this is a little ribbon that can go across. I can show you how to do that. And I'll do the leaves, and then we'll do the ribbon across the top. And that'll bring us to time. But what is so fun about this is there's so many things you could do with it. Here's some other things I did with air dry clay. I made these little shrines. So this one, I used white air dry clay, and I just made a little box, and I just made the little top, and then I painted it and used it as a canvas and just painted inside of it. And then this one, I just simply cut 2 slabs, joined them together, and then I added some around the side, the little ribbon, a little heart. And then I just found this little ornament that I had from the holidays, and I glued it on there, and I sealed it with Mod Podge. So there's so many different things that you could do with air dry clay. It's so fun. So now I'm going
new crafters. What's Mod Podge?
Huh?
What people who are new to crafting don't know what Mod Podge is. Can you tell us?
Mod Podge is like an all-purpose sealer. So it is like from the 60s, I think. It's like still so popular. And it comes in gloss or matte. This one is a dishwasher safe one. So if you want to paint on plates, you can coat your paint with this and then hand wash it. So there's a lot of different, it's just like one of those classic crafty craft tools. And I used Mod Podge on these to seal these. So it just has that shiny finish to it. And for this leaf, I'm just going to cut like a shape of a leaf like this. And this time I'm going to use my knife and just put the little veins of the leaf in there. Like that. And then again, I'm going to score the back of it, and I'm going to put it right here. So when you're done with your piece and you want to let it, you can cover it loosely with plastic, like a plastic bag. Not super tight, but just loosely. And that way it won't warp. It will dry flat. If you let it dry too fast, it will warp on you and look good, especially after all this hard work. You could look, again at your local business to make mugs. Like I recently in Phoenix, I taught a mug making class using ceramic clay, and we used all red clay, so you didn't even need to paint it. And then I fired it for everyone, and then they came back and picked it up. A lot of places in town, like just check out your local community places. So I'm going to add one more leaf here, and then I'm going to show you how ribbon. So here's one more little leaf like that. And let me just add. And these are so fun to add paint to. You could even make little ring dishes. I buy these little salsa bowls, plastic salsa bowls at the dollar store, and then I will cut the clay in a circle and put it on top and tap into the shape of the bowl. And then you could, let it dry for it, pop it out, and you have a cute little ring dish. going to show how to do the ribbon now. This piece of clay. It's nice and because I had sprayed it with the water.
Kathy, do you remember your
and
first?
Look at this little rolling pin I found. Isn't this cute?
Great. Do you remember your first craft project?
I do. You doodled, like always doodled. However, I think the very first project I did was I did like a stained glass project. It was like stained glass paint. But the first thing that made an effect on me was my husband and we would make little crafts to sell. And I didn't have a lot of money, and I bought a pad of watercolor, and I had a few bottles of paint, and I made watercolor earrings. I used a safety pin to poke the hole, and I put the earring hook on them. And I put like 12 pairs on a canvas, or maybe it was 8 pairs. I forgot the amount, but I sold this board for $100 to a local store. And that was how we paid our bill. And I was like, this is amazing. I can make stuff and make money from it. Like, I just thought it was so cool. And then the store would call me back and say, we need to replenish the earrings. And I'm like, this came from watercolor paper. So then I thought, well, instead of watercolor paper, why not use like cracker boxes or cereal boxes and recycle? So then we started recycling things like that. And I just love the element of taking things that we would normally throw away and turning them into polished art that people could wear. And this was like in the 90s, and people were like, what? This is from a cereal box? Like, you could not even tell by the time we added the paint and the varnish and the glitter. And I learned that having that little extra storytelling in the piece made it all the more special. So at the boutique, the store owners could say, those earrings are made from cereal boxes. No way. It made it more appealing to have a story to go with it.
Yeah.
And that really taught me a lot in my business in the future of like, pay attention to what inspires you, pay attention to what you were watching. Every batch of mugs that I make, I know what I was watching at the time, what book I was listening to, because it's all goes into the vibe of it. And I make sure it's always good. So for the ribbon, I have rolled out a piece here, a thin piece, and you're going to need a little piece of paper towel like this. And I'm going to put this ribbon across this way. So I have the little leaves coming off here. So I think it'll be a good balance to have it go across like this. So again, freestyling, trust your intuition. We're just going to do like a little loose, long S like that. I'm going to do the same line like this. And then make the little tail to the ribbon. And again, the more you do this, the easier it will become for you. So if the first time you don't like how it looks, you can keep trying because you'll get more comfortable with it as you go. So again, I know I want to put it here and here. So I'm going to score this side here. I'm going to score this side here. And now I'm going to come on each end of the ribbon, and I'm going to score it on each side. And again, I'm going to add my water here on both sides. And I'm going to take this little piece of tissue, crumble it in a little ball like this, and I'm going to set it like this. And this will keep the clay propped upright while it dries. And then I'm just going to press that into place there and press this side down. And you just want to make sure that it's well connected. So if you have like a little stick or anything, you could go in and blend the two clay pieces together And then you could get a little bit of water. This one I'm going to smooth it out a little bit. And then I can go through and clean this up here. So I'm going to cover this with, and now that, these parts here, you could like decorate with, you could score some lines in here like this.
And what do you mean when you say score?
By score, that means you're making little hash marks with your knife, or I'm using an awl, but you can use a knife, and you're just creating grip. So by creating these little lines, when you add the lines on both pieces, and then you add your water, or your slip is where you have a little bit of clay mixed with the water, so it's like a thin gravy that you can use to connect the two. It will grip better, and it will fuse, and it will dry nice and secure. So you can see here, I have this little, fix this. It's very delicate, so don't touch it once you put it down. Just tried to pick this up, super soft.
And y'all just remember, if you're not as experienced as Kathy, these things might take you a little more time. So you'll be able to go back and watch the video if there are things.
Yes.
Like I have not made the ribbon because I barely just finished my.
Oh, that looks cute. Yes.
I just finished the flower though. So like you work at your own pace, and then you have you could get Kathy's book, you can watch this video later, you can do her other workshops to like learn more techniques, and also to finish this one if you don't finish it during the short time we have together today.
Oh yeah, normally a class like this, it would be like 2 hours to go through it all. And this is an overview, so you can I do have YouTube videos that show it from beginning to end. That is the full process. So just take your time and review it and watch it. These are all of the basic elements of it. I have a lot of tutorials on my website. I have a lot of videos on my Instagram and TikTok. So TikTok, I have them organized, but I have like a whole playlist of ceramics that you can watch that way, from painting to working with clay. And, when I first started hand building pieces, I was so proud of myself, and I was showing them off. And now that I know so much more, I was like, oh my God, those looked horrible. I did everything wrong. I should have smoothed this. I should have done that. But I'm like, you know what? It took me working through that to get to where I am now. So yeah. I'm like, I took a risk and put myself out there and did it because, but other people noticed too. And I've had like master pharmacist people say, I've been watching you, girl. I've been watching you. Good job. You've come a long way. Like if it helps release fear for other people to just dive and get messy, I am all for that, because that is the only way to learn. If you go through life being afraid to put yourself out there, you are missing out. So nobody cares. Everyone's doing their own thing, living their own life. So just go and experiment and make stuff.
I love it. Well, we only have a few minutes left. As you're showing whatever last thing you want to show us about the craft at these stages, I want to ask you the question we always end with, which is there anything we didn't ask you about today that you really wish we had asked you?
I think you asked some really good questions. I think it's just always keeping in mind that our bodies love us. Our bodies to show them love, not like for ourselves, but for like, we have to realize that our bodies are their own energy. You know what I mean? And it's like they have their own personality and everything. And let them in and give them a hug. And they're every part of you is is here and present. And the more you can get over of the negative self-talk, which we all hear it every day, it's said than done. But what if you can look at it from the perspective of your stomach, of your booty, imagine what it would feel like if every time someone looked at you and they went, oh, like that would make me so sad, you know? So you have to like, when
So
you
why do
look
we
in
do
the
that to
mirror,
ourselves? Yeah.
yeah, you know, like our poor booties, like it's not their fault, you know, this is how they are. Like, let's love them, let's appreciate them. So I like, yeah, it sounds weird to think of it that way, but it, that one experience, that's what made me realize that connection between, like, I felt like my legs were talking to me, and they were like, stop being so mean to us, we're doing the best that we can, you think we like this, you think this is easy on us? You know? And I'm like, I'm sorry, you're absolutely right, you are thank you for getting me this far, like, and my legs were telling me, we're gonna finish this, but we're gonna finish it together, stop griping and let's get this done. And I was like, okay, you know. So it just really was and ever since then, I always think of the angle, like even when I massage, I imagine my hands smiling, like, thank you, this is what we needed. We work hard for you. We're making all those crafts, like, with massage. And I'm like, yes, I am giving it to you. So that perception helped a lot break through the negative self-talk.
Yeah. Well, and so everyone, we hope that you, like, you know, carry in your heart with you some of the things that Kathy shared. And we hope that you finish your physical heart and show it to us and show it to Kathy. And Kathy, one last time, tell folks where they can find you online.
Yes, at Crafty Chica, craftychica.com. Send me a message, say hi. I would love to see your finished hearts. It's such an honor and pleasure to be here today to share with all of you. Thank you much.
Thank you for being with us. And thanks again to our friends from Pro Bono ASL. Our interpreters today were Selena and Susan. Thanks to Julianne behind the scenes over there from NAAFA, and all the folks at NAAFA who help us create this programming and raise the money to do this programming. And of course, thank you to everyone in our community who supports our work. Once again, you can follow us at NAAFA Official, or visit our website, NAAFA.org, to learn more about all the many projects that we are working on, and to give if you can. Thank you to all of you who support us through volunteering and through giving. We will be back next week for another NAAFA Webinar Series edition with poet Jessica Salgada. And you can always find our other virtual events on our website to see what else is coming up. Thank you for being with us, everybody. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.